let's check out the KDA standing. Or maybe the MVP standing.
먼저 봐야죠. 네, 데프트의 1위.
As he just mentioned before, Deft in the first place. But interestingly,
yeah, but Lava's roaming has been absolutely fantastic. His damage percent highest as far as the mid lane is, and that's a relevant stat as well.
And Lava's played way less games, so I think these stats are skewed against him. Tempter's had some games against easier opposition, so let's introduce the teams. No changes on the side of Griffin. They come in with something to prove, and already you just want to understand what Griffin are we going to see in Pick Ban, what Griffin are we going to see on the Rift, because if it's last week's Griffin, I think Hanwha Life,
they usually be tempted, will be Lava like our key matchup suggested, but there's Tal on the top side. We're not mixing it up, we're not moving back to So-On, anything like that. Hanwha will be retaining their powerhouse top laner.
Chances you could focus on lane. Nami's very good against Morgana because Black Shield holds almost no value. He's poke it away with the W. The ebb and flow can do a lot. This is the old school Kalista lane that evolved after the hard engage Alistar. We had Nami for the ability to frontline and then be disengage Fate's Called rather than engage Fate's Called. Interesting here, so Hanwha Life get the 2v2 guarantee in the bot lane.
A lot of questions to be answered here as we get into game number 1. Especially if that means strength in the laning phase. But Tarzan, he's coming in already. That's the binding to land after the knock-up. Heal comes out. Baki will be dying, and first blood will go to Viper.
And Tarzan, after his criticism last week, is trying to rewrite it. Jarvan can gank early.
But he cancels the back. They are going to look for it. Morning Mist isn't going to land. And in we go. Elastic Slingshot isn't going to hit. As there's the baby cage, but Leap Strike is going to be good there from Sword. Tarzan makes his way through. Good double knock up there as Tal. Already very low. But Sword, he's the one getting taken down to sub 100 health. There's the bonk. Sword flashes away. Ward goes in the flash from Bono to follow up and even out the kill score.
Important kill there for Hanwha Life. I think they actually approached the gank. Would have been one or the other. Here's Bono, level 5.
Yeah, Black Shield. Lehens is going to use it very selfishly there as the heal has to come out.
Binding hits onto Bono, which means he's not actually able to follow up the first part of the queue there. Very important binding hit by Lehens.
Yep.
Jarvan plus just AP stacking Lissandra is going to be huge burst damage. Speaking of huge burst.
Yep, Binding is going to go wide, but look at the explosion of damage. Tarzan takes out the Kalista basically instantly, and Griffin have a 2-kill lead now, bottom side of the map.
And they got power to wield with a Warrior Jarvan and also...
as well is the best part. Ebb and Flow into Sangyun is going to keep him healthy. Lehens' position is known here in this rush. There's the flash forward, gets the ultimate out. That's the tidal wave to try and help them out. But Lehens does have the Black Shield on himself. That's a great condemn into the wall, but it's an even better knock-up from the Fate's Call and Key using the extra range advantage to get himself all the way back out as well. Lava's going to make this a man disadvantage for Griffin. That's a huge minion wave, and I just don't know whether they're going to be able to fight this one. In goes Bono one more time. Not going to be able to get the boot back because the Black Shield stays alive. Ignite down onto Viper there as Lava uses it that he picked up earlier, but another condemn into the wall. Sangyun has the heal, tries to get himself away, but it's not going to work. He's going to die as well. It's 3 kills as Lissandra turns up, and Bono has to flash to safety.
The teleport there, the roam from Chovy, they're always going to hit the TPs harder. They got the Lissandra. This is why she's so prized, even if some of the lane matchups don't work. They get a huge trade-up in the bot lane. Hanwha Life re-engaging with that teleport available was questionable Atlas, and the punishment. Gank attempt onto the Jax. It all looks very sloppy today from Hanwha Life. It's almost like they woke up on the wrong side of the bed.
Yeah.
They go in super early with the Zac. They don't wait for the tidal wave, so it just comically misses as it glides in, and then Lava's going to be caught on the turret.
Yep, hasn't actually used the portal jump yet, uses it very late as Tarzan almost goes down to the turret, but calculated. He will survive with just a sliver of health, and Hanwha, in the meantime, I just theoretically wasting time on the top side of the map, having to take so long to take down this turret, which is just a trade for the bottom lane that's going to be inner as well.
And the frustrating part for the coach is they make the correct decision of, we can't lane with double flash disadvantage in the bot lane. Let's just go and pile up onto Jax's lane. He has a lot of things, but not wave clear. We'll get objectives and guarantee
control in general as the binding is going to sneak by. As Viper going aggressive underneath this turret. That's going to be the ult used there, but Viper now has to use the heal as he has to use barrier at the same time. That's a terrible move. They're just too far ahead, Griffin. That's going to mean that the Jarvan's going to be able to secure it. Good move back there onto Chovy, but he's made it to the relative safety of underneath his turret and still has his Frozen Tomb available. Tarzan waiting for it, but doesn't actually have enough damage after that Ebb and Flow heal comes in. The Jarvan may be over Tarzan, changing up how he plays his early game. That level 2 gank was fantastic. Bono's going to try and have one last-ditch effort, but Tarzan's just going to walk out of there. Tidal Wave goes completely wide as Julia. He's going to be the first target. She gets knocked up. That's the flag and drag into the Cataclysm, and immediately Lahens goes for the engage as well. It's a double stun as Chovy comes on down. Fate's Call isn't going to bring Key far enough out as Lahens. He's going to die. No stopwatch is going to keep him alive. Sword's just having a field day in the enemy base, and despite the fact that it's only Sangyun going down, Griffin will be able to claim so much from this.
They're just styling on them on the map list. It's just too easy for Griffin. We liked a lot of what Hanwha Life did in draft. They had strong lanes to play around, and then a gank bot lane and other lanes not going as expected. Some sloppiness from Hanwha Life, and it didn't matter what the lanes looked like. Griffin could have any 5 champions, and with how they've just been able to play solid, like he won a skill matchup, like he lost so heavily against Keen. So still, the Jax works against Hanwha Life in game number 1. That's still a data point that Griffin can show, and the Jarvan point is definitely pot kettle black.
And a little bit of it is, okay, there's actually a fight that's going to break out. Lava has to flash. One more auto from Viper will do it. Gets him as he gets the vision as well from the Scryer. Julia, she's going to be the next target. That's theoretically 2 kills over to Griffin now as well, as Viper uses his final hour to take down the enemy red buff, and now with Lava dead as well as the Maiden dead on the side of Tal, Griffin could theoretically go for a Baron if they want to.
Pretty generous use of the word fight. Basically, Vayne tumbled into the enemy team. They tried to run away and one person died. So
yeah.
It was very much some assassinations there, Viper style and frontlining on the Vayne. It was a Jugger Vayne moment, and we don't even have Jinx in this game. Speaking of Vayne, she's on the Baron, and, well, Bono's around. How much can he actually do?
Is he, though? He's going to get the kidnap off, he's going to get the flash, and that means the Griffin are going to get the Baron. There is absolutely no way that Zac can get his smite in there. Tarzan takes a lot of damage from it, but now the Jax is super powered in this split push. Hanwha, I don't know how they're supposed to hold on to this one. They're now just getting driven into impossible...
Rather than necessarily draft that we really didn't like about Hanwha Life in this game. Griffin should feel good about their performance here, especially Tarzan. I like the proactivity we're seeing. The reason why I've been so kind of off the hype train on Griffin, apart from them obviously being a good team, when it comes to them being a great team, it's been inactivity in the early game. There was good activity in the early game this time, so a lot of things being answered by Griffin in that domain.
Yeah, and actually I want to echo that point just a little bit as well, because I think a lot of it has to do with the draft. And a lot of it has to do with Hanwha actually making some good assessments based on the losses that Griffin suffered in last week's games. But then unfortunately, it not working is, speaking of not working, Sangyun down to about 100 health and has to get the hell back to base. This might open the base here for Griffin to come in and take down their first inhibitor of the game. But being able to pick the Yorick that early, that was a flex, saying that Sword isn't going to be able to do anything about it. And I can understand exactly why Hanwha would make that decision, and Griffin have actually answered it and done a decent job as the fight is going to break out. Kidnap does work, but it doesn't actually bring anyone back forward because Black Shield is just too strong. Fate's Call comes out there from Sangyun, but Sword is just too powerful. He dives on forward. It's a triple kill. Instantly make that a quadra. My God, that's insane. It's only the triple to come forward as Chovy steals that one away, but the Jax is too strong. And Hanwha, they have to reevaluate. We're going to go to game number 2 with a Griffin that has reawoken after a terrifying week 8. Week 9 looking way better.
Sorry guys, we couldn't show you any team fights, just an execution, a firing range every time. I spent that team fight watching Viper to see if any tumble was defensive. Every tumble was further in towards the fountain. Every tumble was aggressive because there was only good inroads that time for Griffin. They dismantle Hanwha Life. It is a confidence-injecting victory. But I hope Hanwha Life stick with the theory of the Yorick blind pick and adjust the tools around it rather than just abandoning the draft process they've come into this series with, because the execution is what hurt them. I think the draft certainly could have been worked, but not with a performance in the first 10